Boston Herald, Peter Brookes writes this: the battle to pull Iraq's second largest city, Mosul, from the Islamic State's death grip is now in week 2. And while victory doesn't seem to be in sight just yet, progress towards retaking the city has been made. Unfortunately, evicting ISIS from Mosul is only problem number 1. Peter Brookes joins us now, senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. Peter, we're curious what number 2 is.
Well, obviously, there's the geopolitical issues that you alluded to. I mean, getting ISIS out of there is not going to be easy, but once that happens, there's a number of other actors and states that are involved. For instance, Turkey. Turkey has uninvited Turkish forces in northern Iraq since last year, Jenna. I mean, people forget that Mosul was once a provincial capital of the Ottoman Empire. There are minority Turkmen there. The Turks are friendly with the Iraqi Kurds as opposed to the Syrian Kurds. And of course, they're also concerned about ISIS, which is a threat to them. So what happens? The Iranians and Baghdad have threatened Ankara about getting involved in the assault on ISIS. And it's not quite clear from what I can tell what they're doing. There's been reports that they've been providing artillery support to the Kurds in their efforts against Mosul. So we're going to have to see what happens in the coming times after to get rid of ISIS out of Mosul.
Interesting. So it's not just about retaking the city. It's about what happens the next day. Where does the U.S. stand on all of this, Peter? What would be best for us?
Well, it's really difficult because, even supporting the Iraqi Kurds, Baghdad has insisted that the armaments go through Baghdad because they're very worried about the Kurdish separatist movement in northern Iraq. The Kurds have been semi-autonomous for quite some time, and they're not necessarily, the Sunni Kurds are not necessarily interested in going back under the control of the Shia-dominated government in Baghdad. So this is very, very difficult, and the United States is not saying much about this for the reasons that it's important to have all these forces working together on a common objective, and that is ejecting ISIS from Mosul, where there are 1 million people inside that city right now. And as you pointed out, Jenna, they're not even to the city. This is the battle for Mosul, but it's not the battle in Mosul yet.
And now we're getting reports by way of the Washington Post that ISIS is continuing to kidnap innocent civilians to bring them to Mosul, to use them potentially as human shields. So there's a lot more down this road that we're going to be covering as we continue to focus on this one particular city. Peter, I wanted to get your thoughts on Russia as well, because we've been watching these comments from Russian President Vladimir Putin, and he's taking part in a 3-day gathering, a summit, if you will. And in this summit, there's a variety of different countries involved. It's an annual meeting. He's making some comments about the U.S. election. He's also making some comments about Syria, and I'm just going to share a few of them with you, Peter. Okay. He says right now that Russia is showing restraint in Syria, but that he may lose patience in that. He also was talking about the U.S. election and saying that Donald Trump behaves in an extraordinary way, and just sort of left it at that, but said that he's really resonating with the hearts of a lot of American voters. Let's just take a big picture look at Putin right now. A good friend of mine asked me this weekend, why is Putin so dangerous? I'm curious your thoughts on that, considering your experience in Russia. Tell our viewers a little bit about that and what your assessment would be.
Yeah, Jenna, I mean, look, when I look at Russia, my shorthand is that it's ambitious, it's assertive, it's anti-American, it's revisionist, it's opportunistic, and it's nationalistic. These are real challenges for the United States. And as we see Russia operating, whether it's in Syria, whether it's in Ukraine, whether it's violating treaties such as the INF Treaty or the CFE Treaty, threatening Baltic neighbors, sending a flotilla to Syria, I mean, this is a real trouble for the United States, and we need to take steps to deter Russia from doing something that will really go against more so against our interests. Putin's Russia has desires to put Russia at the top of the international system, and that means moving the United States aside. But Russia faces some significant challenges, especially economically. Russia needs, I would say, over $100 barrel of oil to meet its debts, to meet its payment requirements. It's where it is today. It's much less than that. They have serious economic problems because of this, and they've failed to join the international liberal economic order and make Russia an economic power. So they're trying to use military power to make it a political power. But they really do want to see the United States as the obstacle obstacle to their ascending to the top of the international system.
Just so I'm quoting Putin correctly, he said Donald Trump behaves extravagantly. Not extraordinarily, extravagantly. So that's the word that he's using. You know, I just wanted to mention this to our viewers because we've been covering the flotilla, Russian ships going into the Mediterranean. Lucas Tomlinson, our Pentagon producer, though, reported something interesting that's been overlooked, and that Russia has recently sent 2 ships to Havana, Cuba. And that's 90 miles right off of the Key West, as we know for us.
Right.
So, about deterrence, Peter, what exactly could we do to deter Russia in some of its bold actions already?
Well, we are doing some things, especially in Europe. I think Europe is happy that the United States is back. We're sending more troops over there. There's going to be more exercises. For instance, Jen, when you think about it, the Baltic states have about 30,000 troops, all 3 of those countries together, facing 300,000 Russian troops. We have to show Russia that we're strong and that we're resolute and that we'll meet our treaty commitments so they don't make any mistakes, any miscalculations, any misperceptions. But Russia is looking for soft spots. If they feel they can really bother us by sending ships to Cuba, doing exercises with the Chinese in the South China Sea, or Syria, or trying to put together military exercises with Egypt, which has been reported recently. Russia will do this. So we need to understand what Russia's objectives are. We need to protect and advance American interests vis-a-vis that, and it's going to take a lot of strength and resolution on our part to do that, because right now I think the Russians perceive us as weak and vulnerable, and that's not a good situation for the United States to be in vis-a-vis a country like Russia.
I know it's an understatement, but it's a lot to watch in the world today. That's for sure. Peter, great to have your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.